Warning: the following program contains alcohol references, historical fact, and live-action imagery. If you are easily distracted, don't like accents, or allergic to government, then please leave the room now. Viewer discretion is advised. Voting. Did you know that it is every citizen's duty to vote? It is. Voting is one of the ways that a democracy works. Did you know that there are two different types of democracies? There are. Government has many different shapes and forms, some good and some bad. Want to know how it all works? Well, let's get started. You may remember in my last videos that I talked about philosophers and the ways that they envisioned government. They thought that the one that would work best would be a democracy where everyone has a say. So let's take a look at that first. A moment ago I said that there were two different types of democracies. This is true. There are direct democracies and there are representative democracies. We'll start with direct. A direct democracy is where everyone gets a say. This is great for small groups, but not so great for larger groups. So, a vote we go to. Those in favor. And those against. The yeses have won. Strawberry ice cream served at the next meeting will be. That worked out pretty well, didn't it? Now, what about a larger group? Commenced the voting has. See, doesn't work that well, does it? There are too many people to get all of the votes counted like that. Just think if this happened every day in the Senate chambers. Nothing would ever get done. Now, what if the people were all split into different districts, got together and said, we choose this one person to represent our group, and all of the other districts did that? That is a representative democracy, also known as a republic. Representatives are chosen by the people to represent them in Congress and vote the way that they wish. If they don't vote the way that the people want, then they can be moved out next election and replaced by someone that does. Now, that is the basis of a democracy. But how does a democracy run itself once representatives are elected? Well, there are several ways, but let's go over the ones that sets up a federal government. What is a federal government? Well, a federal government is one that divides the power between the national government and the state governments. These typically have several branches of government. Let's take a look at those now. First up is the legislative branch. This is where Congress meets. Congress is separated into two houses, the House of Representatives and the Senate. Each house has two similar jobs, which is to make the law. Each state is represented in Congress several ways. In the House of Representatives, the states are represented based on population. In the Senate, each state has two representatives or senators. The next branch is the executive branch. This is run by a figurehead, sometimes referred to as the president, who acts as a symbol of the nation. This person has many jobs to attend to, such as being the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, and being the chief executive by executing the tasks of Congress and the nation. The final branch is the judicial branch. This is made up of the court system, that being the district courts, the appeals courts, and the Supreme Court. On the lower levels, the judges are elected by the populace, but on the Supreme Court, they are appointed by the President and approved by Congress. The Supreme Court justices serve for life or until they retire. The instructions for these three branches are laid out in a document known as the Constitution. In said Constitution, there are 7 articles. The first covers Congress, the second the executive branch, the third the judicial branch, the fourth states how the states relate to one another and the national government. The fifth article states that the Constitution can be changed. The sixth says that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and the seventh ratifies the Constitution. Throughout the Constitution's life, it has been amended 27 times. The first times are known as the Bill of Rights. These include religious and political beliefs, the right to bear arms, no soldiers can be quartered in a civilian home without consent, search and seizure laws, right to a fair trial, right to a speedy trial with an attorney, right to a jury, no cruel or unusual punishment, the Constitution cannot contradict itself, and reserved powers are for the states. There are 17 other amendments that are also important to note because of how drastically they changed the Constitution in some areas. For instance, the 13th freed slaves, the 14th granted the former slaves citizenship, and the 15th gave them the right to vote. The 18th Amendment outlawed the sale and consumption of alcohol, but that was repealed with the 21st Amendment. The 19th is important because it gave women the vote, and the 24th banned the poll tax. The 26th changed the voting age to 18. Now, these are just a few, but there are so many more. Now, you may be saying, how does one create a new law or amendment? Well, first, the proposed law is thought up by someone who then contacts one of their representatives and asks them to introduce it in Congress. The proposed law or bill must be approved by a committee. If the committee approves the bill, then it is sent to each of the two houses in Congress. If the bill passes in Congress, then the bill goes to the president to sign or veto. A veto is when the president doesn't like a certain part of the bill and sends the whole thing back to Congress to try to fix it. If the president likes the bill, then he or she will then pass it into law. From conceptual stages to the final thing, a bill can go through many different forms and have several different things added on or taken off in the process. Now, if a president doesn't like the bill both times, then Congress can get it passed anyway by having a 2/3 majority vote pass the bill. This is a part of a system called checks and balances that helps keep the government in check and make sure that one branch doesn't get too powerful. Now, we've seen a bit of what the executive and legislative branches do, but what about the judicial branch? Well, there's some history to that, and that I don't know it particularly well. But he does, so I'll let him take it from here.
Thank you, Professor. So let's look into the history of the judicial branch. When it started off, the judicial branch did not have much power. When the Constitution was set up by the framers, or the political leaders of the colonies, in 1787, it was not given much power. Things changed, however, in 1803. In the Marbury versus Madison case, the Supreme Court ruled that it did not have the power to carry out its decision. The Supreme Court Justice at the time ruled that because of the Judiciary Act of 1789 was unconstitutional because it attempted to give the Supreme Court more power than it was given in the Constitution. This established the power of judicial review, which states that the Supreme Court has the power to declare a law that was passed either by the executive or legislative branch unconstitutional and repeal it. The Supreme Court has been the focus of many high-profile cases, including Brown versus the Board of Education, Plessy versus Ferguson, and Miranda versus Arizona. Now, we've taken a little bit of a look at the judicial branch, the executive branch, and the legislative branch. This makes up the federal government. But what about the smaller governments, the state governments? State governments are very similar to the federal government except on a smaller scale. Let's take our state government, for example. Our Congress is referred to as the General Assembly. In it, we have two houses. We have the House and we have the Senate. The House contains 163 members, and each one can serve for a total of 8 years with 2-year terms. The House members are led by the Speaker of the House. The Senate contains 34 members. Each representative in the Senate can serve for a total of 8 years with 2 4-year terms. They are led by the Lieutenant Governor. The way laws can be made is simple. If an initiative is taken, then we, the people, can get the General Assembly to pass legislation. Or, if we do not like any legislation that they pass, we can then reject it. That's right. We dictate what comes and goes. The president of our state is the governor. He or she basically does all the things that the president does, except, on the state scale and not the national. The governor and his cabinet make up the executive branch, and we also have our own judicial branch with the district courts, the appeals courts, and our own state Supreme Court.
I think that's about everything. Thank you for doing this.
No problem, Professor.
Well, I think that pretty much covers everything. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to rate, comment, subscribe, and etc. to Eye Dazzling Pictures. Have a good night!
You should take me seriously, even though I'm soft and little. Yellow sponge cake on the outside, baby, sweet, sweet in the middle. I'm a deep fried hunk of trans fat and sugar. You hear me coming, I ain't no singer, I'm a Twinkie. He's a Twinkie, yeah, I'm a Twinkie in a ting-tong world. A Twinkie, he's a Twinkie, yeah, I'm a Twinkie in a ting